Let's get into our next discussion. Now, Nigeria is experiencing the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, with daily infections rate increasing at worrying speed. The health facilities in the country are struggling to cope with the influx of infected persons. Now, Nigeria is expecting the first batch of 100,000 vaccines by the end of January or by the first week of February. But the federal government has alleged that there is a groundswell of skepticism and conspiracy theories around the COVID-19 vaccine. Are there conspiracy theories spreading on social media, both here in Nigeria and abroad, about the vaccine in an attempt to discourage people from being vaccinated? All right, we'll be talking about this and how to make people understand what is really going on here. Joining me in the studio is Samuel Adekola, National Chairman, Association of Pharmacists of Nigeria. It's nice to have you join me, Samuel, again.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
brother.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Now, if Nigerians are happy from some of the comments we've heard, expectant of or expecting the vaccines to come in for COVID-19, at least it gives some level of hope that something is going to be done. But when we talk about the conspiracy theories that, you know, it's been bandied around across the world, I wonder what you've been hearing. In fact, let's start from there, maybe.
Yeah, well, quite a lot of things. I mean, of course, we are on social media together. We hear a lot of things about incorporation of, all sort of things, chips into the vaccine formulation, and because they want to cut down population, or we want to in certain chips, which is going to be like a signs of the Antichrist, 666. All of these are on the platform, but for all we care, as professional scientists, we know that this is not possible. This is not right. This is not correct, and that is why we tell the world discard this. Of course, this is just like one of those infections that we have gone through. Yes, this is a pandemic that, because it's across the globe. Yes, the only way to go about this is through vaccine. Everybody knows this. For scientists, pharmacists, medical doctors, everybody knows that the only way to curb this type of
is to inoculate everyone.
Inoculate everyone with vaccines. So there's nowhere to go. So saying that there's an individual somewhere who is trying to cut down the population of the world, who is trying to cut down the population of Africa, all of these are just fallacy, and they are just.
In fact, the point there is, from that conspiracy theory, if you cut down the population of the world, then what happens? Because the point there is, companies that are even big, they become bigger because when there is a larger market.
Population,
the population, when it's there, that's where they get the more money. So if they're cutting down on the population, to what benefit and to what aim?
Of course.
No, but anyway, that is not to say this is true or this is not true. That is just what is out there. But let's come down to the science of it, the realities of it, like you said. Now, when these vaccines come in, there was a talk about the Nigerian agencies having a clinical test of it to see the efficacies and see generally even if it is compatible with the genes and all of those physical whatever
the
of Nigerians.
Profile,
yeah, exactly.
Profile.
Okay.
That's
what you call it?
Yeah, that's the safety profile of the vaccine. That's what NAFDAC stands do. That's the capacity.
So will they do it?
Yeah, they will do it.
Okay.
And that's why before every product that comes to Nigeria, through the right route, NAFDAC have the mandate. And they have the capacity, they have the personnel to test. Is it toxic? Is it, it's going to do, yes, they might not be able to do effective efficacy testing.
Okay.
You understand? And that is why they say, we rely on the efficacy tests that have been done by FDA, by other agencies world over. Reputable agencies. So when it comes in, they will do a testing. They will look at the toxicity, which is toxic profile of this vaccine. Is it safe for Nigerians? So once it's
will
safe,
they have side effects?
Yeah, will it have side effects? Once this is done, then the vaccine will be released to the population for usage.
Now, there's the concern about, in fact, there was a report recently, I think about sometime last week, that about 100,000 doses of the vaccine could be could become waste.
Yeah.
From challenges of distribution, storage, and all of that. Talk to us about that. What is government really doing? What are from your it's your sector? So
Sure, for sure. That's a very realistic fear.
Okay.
Because of our network, because of our distribution chain. That's very realistic, and that is why we know it can be circumvented. And the only way this can be done is when there is collaboration, when there's cooperation, when there's integration and inclusion of every resource that we have. I mean, that's critical. I mean, the point we have gotten to right now, WHO will be talking about this. Incidentally, WHO will be talking about, you're talking about universal health coverage. And that's the point that comes into play now, into fore. Because WHO has seen that over the year, the methodology, the concept of restricting certain group of persons to deliver primary care, I mean, which is preventive medicine, which is exactly what we're talking about in COVID, has failed. And that is because we do not have enough. Even countries well developed do not have enough of this personnel, of this facility. And that is where WHO has come to say, one good way to achieve, to circumvent wastage and to ensure that we reach the unreachable before now, and we're talking about universal health coverage, covering everybody, is to take benefit of people, I mean, personnel, facility, professionals that are close to the people in the private sector. I mean, inclusion of private sector, complete integration of private sector, giving role to the private sectors. Not only, I mean, to come and do business, but this time to deliver services. And that is why when WHO look at this area categorically, they came up to say, on the first row is the community pharmacists that are very close to the people, Yeah. I mean, they are there in the community. You don't need an appointment to meet with them.
Yeah.
You don't need.
They are there already.
They are there already. Just walk in, walk out. In fact, most of the services they deliver are delivered at free at FOC.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, these are there. These have been done. So you don't charge anything. You don't charge any. No
services, fee, no tariffs.
So the same thing. This is not the only group that are there that WHO advocate for. They also advocate for even nursing homes, private nursing homes, private hospitals. There are private hospitals, you understand? That are being headed by nurses.
Yeah.
They're there. They're quite in our community. And they're doing well. They savage people, even in delivery. So they have been there.
So the most important thing is to reach out to the people who need.
Who are in need. See, and in doing this, you integrate. And I'm, like I said, for the first time, I mean, in my professional life, last 2 weeks, the MPSCDA, which is directly in charge of primary care, called us for a discourse. I mean, the HED called all this body and for discourse. And we hope it's not just good. It's not just about disseminating information to us, because this perhaps has happened before. There was a time we got a PTF was calling us to talk, but it's not just only talk, no action follows. And this time, when you talk about even COVID now, we're talking about vaccine. We're not talking about testing. Even the testing is still an issue, great issue for us. Great issue. The testing is still an issue, and that is why we are still not getting it right. But if
you talked about the issue of integration not long, and I like the word integration. In fact, the word integration just creates a picture of close to a perfect system where all stakeholders are on board. Remember, sometimes in the 90s or so, when we had late Professor Olukoye Ransom Kuti as Minister of Health, a lot of people said that was the peak in Nigeria's primary healthcare system at that time. And we built a network. Nigeria had this template where other countries came to, borrow from and even understudy and learn from. Now, when it comes to integration, from all the stakeholders that are supposed to be involved, from even graduating from primary healthcare to secondary healthcare to, and all of that, do we have the right data when it comes to the spread? If we put Lagos on the map, or we put Southwest on the map, or Nigeria on the platform, and we're trying to see how we can, who is where, who is, do we have that kind of?
Yeah, that I'm sure we have. Okay. For example, we talk about pharmacists, the community pharmacists. Today, if you approach the council, the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria will tell you how many pharmacies do we have in Lagos, in any part of the country. and their geospatial distribution.
Okay.
You can see them here. A number of times, I receive call on my phone. I'm in Lagos here. My premises in Akure. I receive, oh, sorry, we saw you on Google. We saw you on this. Do you have this item? Do you have this? I mean, it's there.
So there's a networking going on
already.
And sharing of, okay.
In a sense, I was one of the premises I have also here in Lagos. I was just there about a week ago, and a young man just came to me and said he's work for geospatial, something organization. They are trying to network. They are trying to map out how many pharmacies, this pharmacy has been registered before it's existing. The same thing goes with these nursing homes I talked about. So getting to know them, getting to know where they're located is not an issue.
Right.
There are, I mean, council has spent so much money to map out this. And I can also say, kudos to Society for Family Health, who also has supported the council through a project to do the mappings of these facilities in the numbers of of our state.
Yeah.
So the statistics are there. The locations are known. It is just about, okay, come to table and let us see.
And the will to activate whatever. Okay. Now, we have just about 100,000 doses of vaccine coming first, the first batch of it.
Yep.
And then we're expecting more, close to about 20 million before the end of the year or by the end of the year and all of that. When this comes, it's like a drop in the ocean, but it's a good step. Anyway, let us even say 5 doses come in. But how will this be administered?
Yeah, that's the one that we're talking about. No, we should be looking up to MPCA to tell us. That's the point. That's the critical point here. I mean, I expect by now this discussion should have been on. The engagement should have been on. Only yesterday, there was the executive sessions of the World Health Organization's meeting, was held. And there was advocacy there. A publication came out from the FIP, the International Pharmaceutical Federation, to tell the world that today, the only way to achieve this, to make this happen, is engage community pharmacists. I mean, in this, because today, as we speak, 76 countries had already give the right of vaccination to community pharmacists already. So they are vaccinating already. They are doing testing already for COVID and all sorts. And another 16 is in the process of developing a regulatory. I mean, we're not saying just put people up there without regulatory framework.
Yeah.
I mean, there might be some training for a 5, 7, 10 hours training for some guys. You understand? Like I said, like I do with myself in one of the programs, that I started vaccination since 2011, after being trained and being certified by American Pharmaceutical Association, Pharmacists Association. They came into Nigeria and they trained about 100 of us, and they gave us the tools. And we started. People come to take their vaccination, take their varicella vaccination, take, all sort of vaccination. You understand? But these are very few, and this is being done by just few individuals among us. But we are saying the pool of resources is there. So we expect that the government at this moment, at the time,
take advantage of it.
Take advantage of this. Irish government only last week agreed to say CPs and GPs, they have, I mark 1.6 million euro to support them for this vaccination. Because in Irish, GP does vaccinate. It's only the nurses that vaccinate before now. But now, they said the GP, general practitioners and the community pharmacists must be put into it. Okay. And now they have put them into it. But we're saying that this is what we're saying in Nigeria. I mean, these are people who have developed facility, who are more facility than us, and they are taking advantage. Yeah. Why? We that doesn't have...
and we that need the service the most.
We need the services most. Why are we looking back? Okay. What is PTF doing? What's the Minister of Health doing? What is... people should come on table, call the people. Let us talk about it. How do we go? We call on government. We call on the governors. The Nigeria Governors Forum. We challenge the governors to bring the people together at the table. Just not leave this thing to anybody. Let's come to the table and discuss for the purpose of Nigeria. Yeah. I mean, if you bring 100,000 doses of vaccine to Nigeria, at the end of the day, if 30-40% of it is lost because you could not reach the people. Yeah. I mean, what benefit, what gain is that to us? I mean, this is just the issue. We have to, if the only panacea to achieving health coverage, universal coverage, a world over, is to take maximum benefit of the untapped potentials that are great untapped potentials in the private sector. When I talk about this, leading this group is the community pharmacy. We have the nurses there. We have, there are even some private medical doctor facilities that are not covered, that are not taken to this processes. And that's why we ask government to open up for the first time and let it have it for good so that Nigeria can take maximum benefit of these services that are just there.
All right, we'll hear from the news report we got that government is earmarking over 10 billion naira for, to go into processing local vaccines, or look forward into local vaccines. I wonder how that is going to help.
Yes, it's going to help. Nigeria has facility to produce vaccine.
Okay.
We have an institute of, vaccine production in Nigeria. And now that the process is already known, we may not just start afresh. We have, there is a protocol. So it's not impossible to come up with a vaccine. We are scientists, just like the people over there are scientists, and they've seen, and I must tell you, our guys are good. They're quite good. There's a professor from University of Unzuka, a pharmacist, a young guy who, world over, received acknowledgement of WHO on this vaccine issue, on the research on COVID today. So these guys are there, they are here. So if they are supported, another thing that was talking about this integration, bringing people, just allow Thailand to get wasted. You leave people, you hear this. Nobody called them to talk. Nobody brought them to the table. It's the same set of person who feel that this is my birthright. People have taken government services as their birthright, and that's the greatest service to Nigeria. I see civil servants saying that, because they feel that their interest must be protected. It's so sad. It's so sad. It's something we see on a daily basis. People see services, you are employed there. It is not a birthright. In fact, for me, I tell the people who are working with government that, sorry, you should appreciate us most because some of us have better chance than you in getting this job. We will have taken you out of the place. Perhaps you'll not be there. It's a chance we gave you to go and be working there. But instead of you seeing it as services to the people, and you see people saying protecting government services, government offices, as if it's their father's right. This is sad. And I hope that if indeed we do some sincerity to it, it's not impossible that in a short while a vaccine locally will be manufactured.
All right, we look forward to the day that Nigeria would take its that leadership role that we've always had in the early 60s and part of 70s, where African countries will literally want to go to Nigeria to get, ideas, to get scoops of some of these things.
Now Tanzania's, all of these guys are ahead of us, and that's unfortunate. People who are coming out of war are better than us in health sector. We now go to them to learn, and that is shameful. It's sad because we have failed. You understand? Because our handlers, the handlers of our health sectors, people are not responsible. They are not responsible. They don't just want to do it. People are more concerned with personal interest rather than the public interest, and that's the truth.
All right. Talking about the issue of distribution, I wonder what you feel should have been the ideal benchmark, keeping aside, because you said earlier that we don't know what the primary healthcare and the government is planning yet, but if you would advise, what would it be like? Because we don't have 200, the guarantee of 200 million vaccines to come in for everyone yet, as it is. But if we're having the first 100,000, what would your advice be?
The advice is, critically speaking, the first set of, and they have said it right, because they're saying that the first 100,000 now is going to be focusing on the most risk group, and that's talking about the people at the front line, the health sector, health care providers, which is right, because on daily basis, these guys come to us to assess X, and we don't know their state. Some are even, some we know, we can't turn them back, and because of that, it puts us at great risk continuously on a daily basis because of this contact. So it's a good thinking to say, the first set of vaccines will be used to take care of the health the health care providers who are the front line. Very good. Yes. But now we're talking about distribution. Like I said, when we were told about 100,000, critically speaking, I put my pen on the table. I just look at
trying to make some calculations.
Said, what is it supposed to mean? That's the question I asked them. Are you saying what are you talking about? Are you saying we just have 100,000? If it's pharmacies alone, if you assume you want to give community pharmacy alone, that 100,000 is not sufficient because apart from the pharmacies, one pharmacy, one community pharmacy will have as much as 4 to 6 supporting staff. You will not say you are giving the pharmacist alone without leaving out the supporting staff. Because in most cases, even the supporting staff will have contact first before the pharmacist. And if they don't have it first before the pharmacist, they will have it after. The pharmacist has had the contact with them. So these are issues. So counseling government, to advise government, well, is to maximize, how to see how we can take maximum benefit from it. Because the small, it's like cutting your coat according to size. Cutting to your cloth. So what we have right now is that how we can take maximum benefit of this.
But do you see it as really challenging to take those kind of decisions right now?
It's not challenging.
Okay.
It is just interest. I tell you, it's not challenge, it's interest. I'm sorry, just there's no time. I have an experience in Ondo State, just about a week ago. The government of the state wanted to create an agency which will make medicine available to the people across same price, across the state entirely, and to make sure that out-of-stock syndrome is taken out of the state, and also to ensure that debt is taken out of the state. When we started discussing it, we got to a point, and there are certain civil servants who just, the way they were taking it, at the point the governor summoned us to a meeting and said we must come for a meeting. And we brought to the table. There and there, the government gave an instruction. Sorry, if this guy doesn't want to do this, can you do it this way? He gave an instruction to another officer. Please, if the Minister of Health are not going to be coming up very soon, please talk to justice so that this law can be made. That is, we're talking about a person. Perhaps that's why they call him talk and do. The governor of Ondo State, I'm sorry. So what I'm saying, so it's not challenge, it's about the people at the center. It's the will.
Okay.
And today, the information from that side told me that even the ministry that was trying to, for whatever reasons, today they are jumping. With less than 72 hours, the table turns. The bill was almost ready to go to House of Assembly. So that is because the person at the center showed interest. And he didn't even tell them, sorry, you don't do it again. He said, please, if this person can't do it, please do this way. And that is the way it goes. So it's not a challenging decision to take. It is only when the guy there, the Minister for Health, come up and say, oh, wow, we have to do this. And perhaps, if he's the president or whoever, he has to say, no, we have to do it this way. People know the truth. It's just that they don't want to do it. Yeah. And that's the truth. So it's not a challenging situation, decision at all. At
least we've been there before. And moreover, when it comes to the template of vaccine distribution, we had the polio vaccine network, so when it comes to the terrain, health officials know what these things are.
Unfortunately, why we can't use the template of polio is because of what we're talking about.
The storage,
the challenges. So that is why that might not be a very good one to you, but sincerely
it can be modified.
It can be modified. That's the truth.
That's what I'm saying.
It can be modified.
All right, we have to leave it here now. Samuel Adekola, National Chairman, Association of Pharmacists of Nigeria. Thank you so much for your insight. And thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Right.